Let's look at the following problem. A mass MA, that one, slides on a 45 degrees inclined plane of height h. It is connected by a cord of negligible mass over a small pulley to an equal mass MB, which is hanging vertically. Both the masses are held at rest at height h/2. At t equals to 0 seconds, the masses are released. Which mass will move downward? So let's do part A first. To answer part A, let's look at these two masses while they are held at rest. So now let's look at mass B. B is hanging vertically, so the weight that is acting on it is its mass times gravity. Now let's look at object A. Object A is resting on an inclined plane with angle 45 degrees. So while its weight will also act vertically downward, and it has a value of mg because A and B both has the same mass, the component of this weight that is actually trying to pull it downward in that direction is given by mg sine 45 degrees. mg sine 45 is quite simply mg times 1 over square root 2 because sine 45 degrees is 1 over square root 2. And you immediately see that this is greater than that. So the answer to part A is mass B will move downward. So now we know B is moving downward. Let's get on to part B. Find the acceleration of that mass B after it is released. So in order to address that, we need to look at the free body diagram of mass B. So mass B is that. So that is B. What are the forces acting directly on this object B? Well, there are two. One is its weight, which is given by its mass times gravitational acceleration, and the other one is tension in the cord that is trying to pull it upward. We know it's moving downward, so there is a potential acceleration in a downward direction, and we label it as A. So the net force on object B is given by that mg minus tension, and by Newton's second law, it is quite simply mass times acceleration. We have two unknowns, the tension and the acceleration, and we are trying to solve for this, which means we need to know what this is. In order to determine that, we need to look at the free body diagram of object A. We know B is moving downward, so that means A is moving up the plane. So let's sketch free body diagram for object A. Now there are two forces acting on this object A. One is, of course, the tension, moving upward like that. And the other one is the component of that weight that is parallel to the plane. And that acts like that. And it's given by mg times sine of that inclined angle. So sine 45 is 1 over square root 2. We note that this is not an independent force, it results from that force. And in addition to mg sine 45, there is a perpendicular component of that weight acting downward, and that is mg cosine 45. Cosine 45 is again 1 over square root 2. And one final force is the normal force from the plane acting on object A, like that. The acceleration of object A is upward, like that. And since there is no friction in this problem, we can neglect all the other forces. We can neglect that, we can neglect that. So all these forces will not enter the calculation. All we need is this and that. Since the acceleration is up the plane, the net force on object A is also up the plane. And the net force on object A is given by tension minus that component of weight down the plane, which is mg times 1 over square root 2. And from Newton's second law, this is quite simply mass of object A times acceleration. A and B are part of the same system, so they will move with the same acceleration A. We have two equations with two unknowns. We can add this equation, let's call that equation 1, and this equation is equation 2. 1 plus 2, you see the tension goes away, and the left hand side would give you mg 1 minus 1 over square root 2. So that's the result of adding this term to that term. On the right hand side of the equation, ma plus ma is just 2ma. So we can write 2 times ma. And you see m goes away, and we can solve for the acceleration. Bringing the 2 to the other side, you get g over 2 times 1 minus 1 over square root 2. And that is the acceleration of the system. Now let's look at part C. At what time will the mass identified in part A strike the ground? Meaning that mass, at what time does it strike the ground? The acceleration of object B is constant, so kinematics apply. Now we know the distance it travels before it hits the ground. It's h over 2. We know it starts from rest, so the initial speed is 0. All we need to do is to determine the time interval for that object B to travel a distance of h over 2. And we can use the following kinematics equation. The distance traveled equals half acceleration times squared plus initial speed times time. And this term goes to 0 because B starts from rest. So the distance traveled is h over 2 equals half. The acceleration has been computed in part B, g over 2 times 1 minus 1 over square root 2 t squared. And you can solve for t. So when you solve for t, you get, note that this 2 goes away. So t is 2h over g times 1 minus 1 over square root 2 square root, which can further be simplified in a following form. 2 times square root 2h over g square root 2 minus 1. And that is the answer for part C. And of course the unit is in seconds. And we record the answer here. Part D. If the mass in C, that is this mass, stops when it hits the ground, but the other mass, that is that mass, keeps moving upward along the plane, will it strike the pulley? To answer that question, let's look at object A closely. Let's label the initial position as position I, and as B drops a distance h over 2, we know A will move up the plane by the same distance, so it will be somewhere there. Let's call that position the final position. So this distance is h over 2. So as B travels h over 2 and strikes the ground, A goes up the plane by the same distance, h over 2, like that, and gets to the final position, and it will be moving. Now we need to mark two other distances. The first distance is that distance. Since this is h over 2, that has got to be h over square root 2 from trigonometry. It's easy to see why that is the case. We have a triangle. This is h over 2. This is 45 degrees. So if you want to calculate that distance, you see that h over 2 divided by L equals sine 45, which is 1 over square root 2. So that means L equals square root 2 over 2 times h, or quite simply h over square root 2. Hence this value. And by same logic, we can calculate this entire distance, the length of that hypotenuse, because we know this side is h. that entire hypotenuse has a length of square root 2 times h. So that is that distance right there. So that means this distance, the distance from the final location to where the pulley is given by square root 2 minus 1 over 2h. So at this initial location, A has a speed of 0. First, we need to determine what that speed of A is at the final location. So the final location is when A has traveled up the inclined plane by that much distance. That is also the moment when B hits the ground. So let's assume the speed of A at the final location is V. So V squared minus 0 squared, because at the initial location A was rest, it was starting from rest, equals 2 times acceleration, which we have found in part B. So g over 2, 1 minus 1 over square root 2, times the distance traveled h over 2. We are using the kinematics equation. V squared minus u squared equals 2 times acceleration, distance traveled. So this goes away. We can solve for v squared as quite simply g times 1 minus 1 over square root 2 times h over 2. Beyond this point F, the acceleration of A is no longer given by that expression because B at that moment has already reached the ground and the tension is no longer working. What happens? A will start to slow down with an acceleration of g sine 45, which is that, and eventually will come to a complete stop. We need to calculate the distance it traveled before it comes to a stop. If that distance traveled is greater than that distance, it will hit the pulley. If the distance is less than that distance, it will not hit the pulley. So let's do that phase of calculation. So for that phase, this v squared, which is the speed of object A at that point, will serve as the initial speed squared. And since A will eventually come to rest, the final speed for that phase is 0. So 0 squared minus that, which is g 1 minus 1 over square root 2 h over 2 equals 2 times acceleration, but now the acceleration is negative because the acceleration is down the plane now, times the distance traveled. Let's call that distance traveled delta L. So again, this is just the kinematic equation. The final speed squared minus the initial speed squared equals 2 times acceleration times the distance traveled. G goes away. This negative will cancel that negative. Solving for delta L will give you h over 4 times square root 2 minus 1. So this is the distance A travels from this final point until to come to a complete rest, as it accelerates downwards with that much acceleration. And you see that this expression is less than that expression. So this is half of that. Note that this distance right there is this entire distance, whereas A comes to a complete stop after it covers half that distance from the final point. So what that means, it doesn't get to the pulley. So it doesn't strike the pulley. So the answer to part D, will it strike the pulley? The answer is no. And that solves the problem. Thank you for watching.